today's times, future proofing the organization and future proofing our own selves is a very relevant conversation. In fact, as a responsible leader, one should focus on keeping oneself updated and future proofed. And this is not just about being an organizational leader, but this is also about being a leader as a parent, being a leader as a student, or being a leader as a business person or a government official in any space. If you are a responsible leader, you need to ensure that you are focused on updating yourself in a 360-degree fashion and keeping yourselves contemporary in your thinking, feeling, acting in all senses. Let's talk a little bit more about this and understand how you could go about doing this. And precisely, there are 6 things that I would urge you to follow. The first thing, your own assessment of your reality has to be very good. Most of us have a very flawed understanding of our reality. And as Sean Parrish in his mental models would say, that our perception, our egocentrism plays a lot of role, and our distance from the consequences of our decisions plays a lot of role. I also, from my own research, say this, that our isolation from grave outcomes of life and death, and also our preferences of shiny, complex things in life also create those challenges. So our perception is flawed. We have that challenge of interaction with reality because of our egocentrism, etc. So please assess your reality correctly. Where do you stand? What is the strength of your career? What's the strength of your parenting? What's the strength of your social life? What's the strength of the family life that you have? What's the strength of your own health, well-being, etc.? Have that assessment of reality, because that will then help you understand where do you stand, how much ground do you need to cover, what is that future looking like, and what do you really need to do. Do you need to reinvent yourself, which is one of the highest levels of change? Or do you need to re-engineer certain aspects of who you are? Then that is a little less tough as compared to complete reinvention. Or do you need to just relearn and retune certain areas of life? Or do you basically just need to be aware because you have certain amount of runway in front of you? That degree of assessment is very critical for you to know where do you stand. The second thing from there is whatever do you get as an understanding of the distance that you need to cover, the intensity, etc. In any space that you are in, your trade skills are going to be very important. If you're in an organization, the subject matter that you deal with, your knowledge of marketing, IT, supply chain, or finance, or HR, or legal, or any other function that you come from, or if you're running a business, the nuances of taking all of this together and working there. If you're in diplomacy, then what goes in there? If you are in the government services, what goes in there? If you are in an NGO, what it entails to raise funds, have compliance of all the campaigns, to do what you need to do. Whatever are your trade skills, please focus on that. In today's times, there is a lot of focus on leadership skills. There's a lot of focus on things like influencing and tons of making presentations and talks, etc. But very few people talk about trade skills. But that is what will keep you ticking. Understand that. And some of the other areas, like I spoke, whether it's parenting or your social life, etc., there are certain trade skills of how do you deal with your child, how do you make friends, how do you network, how do you work with your family to have harmony, peace, how do you work with your own self. So whatever is that specific area of trade that you need to deal with in that area of your life, focus on mastering that. That's your pillar number 2. And if you get that right, between assessment of reality and the trade skill, about 60% of your journey is then set. Now, what do you need besides it? Other than knowing your trade skills, the way you think, feel, act needs to change. Now, most of that will be about the way your leadership is in organizations, or your approach is as a human being, or your personality, or your story is about as an individual, as a brand. So pause in your life and use your assessment of reality and your trade skills to say, hey, what are my thought patterns? How do I think? What are my reactions? What are my aversions? Who is it that I say that I don't like? What is it that I say I like? What is it that I get attracted to? What is it that I have an aversion or I get very uncomfortable with? Look at all of that and see if you are an inclusive personality who is embracing the polarities of life. Remember, if you have a yes and then there is a no, the no is a logical opposite, but there are so many phenomenological opposites of the yes. You have maybe, there is a possibility, there is a probability, all of those are the other sides of the yes. Do you understand that spectrum? The opposite of war is not just peace. The opposite of war could be coexistent living. That's the phenomenological opposite. Do you understand the phenomena of polarities? It's not the black and whites of life, but the spectrums of the gray, where there are sufficient possibilities that are there. Influencing is not the only way that you can get things done. You can have story building, you can have a directive behavior, you can have partnerships, you can have trade-offs. Do you understand these polarities of how things are, the various angles from which you need to look at life? Update that thinking, generate insights for yourself. Focus on deeper ways of thinking. What are the elements of wisdom that you can use to simplify your life, the life of people who are around you, work with them? How can you look at 10 things and just simplify that into one? All of this is updating your thinking. And once your thinking is simpler, the way you feel about things will go away from being anxious, unsettled, wanting recognition, wanting external validation, fears, etc., to more of confidence. And confidence is the beginning of a lot of peace, joy, and harmony. Remember this, confidence is the beginning of a lot of peace, joy, and harmony. People who are confident in their inner world tend to be a lot more peaceful, joyous, and harmonious. Focus on that, and that will never come unless you work on your thinking. And if your thinking and feeling get updated, your actions, your behavior will automatically get updated. So those are three important pillars that you need to look at. So I'll repeat that for you. If you want to be a contemporary leader in any field, assess your reality. Number two, master the trade that you're in, the subject matter that you need to deal with. And number three, update your thinking, feeling, and actions. That's your foundation. Now, with the foundation, you need to have certain amount of connection into the society. And that connection into the society will be about how you are moving in diverse groups, diverse trade groups, different kinds of people that you're interacting with. You are from HR, but do you understand finance and their language, IT and their language, and so on and so forth? You are great at what you do with respect to your consulting business, but have you also done some hands-on work, some projects, some NGO space, some philanthropic cause? All of that, diversity is going to teach you much more. So engage with diverse groups and understand. And this diversity is also about diversity of age, diversity of culture. Interact with as many diverse spaces as possible, and that will give you a lot of rich understanding. And lastly, be in this habit of giving back, generating insights and offering to wherever you are. Make greater meaning of life. Be a useful human being. And that's the most important last thing that I want to leave with you. Any leader, any person in any space of life is ultimately a human being. If you are a great human being, if people get attracted to you, people find comfort in your presence, people find utility in your presence, people win because of what you do, or they progress because of what you tell them or support them with, etc., they will naturally gravitate towards sponsoring you in their mind and various causes, etc. So be that great, insightful, useful human being. A lot of us have learned how to become useful for ourselves, but we are highly useless beyond a very small group of people as a human being. Take this as the most important thing that you're taking away from this video, because a lot of the future life is not simply going to be about workplace alone. There's a lot of balance that human beings today need when it comes to family, society, health, ecological causes, UN sustainable goals, for that matter of fact. In all of these things, you cannot but have one mask of being a leader and do things. You have to be a human. So when I say be a responsible leader, I in turn am saying be a responsible human being, or as I often say, learn to be a dharmic sarthi, someone who understands the dharma of things and is a charioteer, is a leader, like Krishna once was for Arjuna. That's what a responsible leader would do to be future proof in whatever they do, wherever they are.